Hi, so this is a book haul, and in full disclosure, if you've seen my previous book hauls, I know that you're expecting me to sing. However, if you're listening closely to my voice, you can listen to the fact that my voice is coming through my nose, and I just, my throat is making weird sounds that look like speaking but are not speaking, and I look terrible. I have bags under my eyes, and I look pale, and it's not COVID. It's okay. It's just I suffer from terrible allergies. I used to have allergy attacks every year. Last year I didn't because we quarantined and I wore mask everywhere when I came out, which was not a lot. And so for some reason my nose just thought, well, okay, no allergies this year. But now in 2021, which is really strange because I use a mask pretty much every day through the entirety of the day, my allergies decided to adapt. And so I am completely dying. But still, I wanted to do this book haul. And so obviously, I'm not going to sing because I am not going to put you through hearing me sing with this voice. I can't. I can do pitch, I can't do anything. So I'm just going to give you a little taste of the song that I was supposed to sing to you today. All I want for Christmas is books. Ooh, baby. And it's terrible, but yeah, it was supposed to be a parody. And now it's a parody of myself, but yeah. And with that out of the way, let's get into December book haul, which I have no idea if it's going to be posted before January or not. So if it's already January, Happy New Year. If it's not, have a Happy New Year. We're flexible. So let's get into it. So first, and to get this already out of the way, we have a comic issue that I receive every single time, and that is The Joker. This is issue 9, if I'm not mistaken, and The Joker is by James Tynion IV, and now they changed the artists. So instead of Guillem March and Arif Prianto, it's going to be Stefano Raphael and Romulo Fajardo Jr. I can't even speak the names of these people because I don't have an accent. So I've been perusing through the art style, trying not to spoil myself because I haven't read the previous issue of this. It sounds nice. Well, it looks nice, I mean. But it's not as amazing as March and Priento's artwork were. So I'm really sad about that. At least they did the cover. The covers are amazing, and I'm glad to have them all in the same art style because I don't know what I would do if I hadn't. But yeah, this is basically a story about Commissioner Gordon, and he is searching for the Joker. And I love the Joker. Not actually love the Joker, but I think he's one of the greatest villains ever. If you've been on this channel for a while, you know about that. So yeah, interested to read this. So next one that I have here is a horror graphic novel, which apparently is a collection of stories by a lot of authors and art styles by a lot of authors with one thing in common, which I absolutely love, and it's called The Silver Coin. This is volume 1, and the people that wrote this, let me see on the inside. So, The Silver Coin is created by Michael Walsh, Ed Brisson, Jeff Lemire, Kelly Thompson, and Cheap Zdarsky, which are names that, if people have been into horror graphic novels, they know who they are. I personally have read and have in my possession some graphic novels of these authors, but this says a curse needs to feed. The story starts with a failing rock band whose fortune changes overnight when they find a mysterious silver coin. Next, it helps handle some mean girls at sleepaway camp. Follow the curious token as it changes hands over centuries, from Puritan New England to the scavenged junklands of 2467, and discover how much pain a cursed coin can purchase. And I mean, if you know anything about me, you know that I love when there's a cursed something. And this looks amazing. The cover of this is basically the bones of a vulture with a silver coin that has this eye that it's bleeding, and I love it. And the back of it has the head of I actually am not sure if it's a moose or if it's just a deer, but it's creepy as shit. And the colors on the inside, I'm going to show you, are sort of psychedelic. Where is that shit? It's a sort of psychedelic, twisted horror thingy. I love it. I love it. It sounds like an awesome horror anthology and something that I would love to read. So, yeah. Then we got some manga, and first and foremost, for the channel that I am, it has to be a Junji Ito manga. And so we have Cat Diary, Yon and Mu by Junji Ito, and this is a collector's edition, which I do believe glows in the dark. So this part here that says Cat Diary glows in the dark, and it says Hello Kitty in the back. And I laughed so hard the first time that I saw this that it was a terrible pun, but it was pretty fun. And it says, Master of Japanese horror manga Junji Ito presents a series of hysterical tales. Hysterical, okay. Chronicling his real-life trials and tribulations of becoming a cat owner. Junji Ito, as Ji-kun, has recently built a new house and has invited his fiancée, Eiko, to live with him. Little did he know, his blushing bride-to-be has some unexpected company in tow. Yon, a ghastly-looking family cat, and Mu, an adorable Norwegian forest cat. Despite being a dog person, Jae-kun finds himself persuaded by their odd cuteness and does begin his comedic struggle to gain the affection of his new feline friends. And just, the kittens are so cute, but there's one of the kittens, I think it's Yon. He has like these spots on his back that look like a skull. And so apparently Yon is supposed to be the evil one, but I see here that Mu apparently used to bite him. I don't know. It's just... Because I'm a cat lady, I don't have any kittens, sadly, but I am a cat lady, and my plan is when I actually get a house of my own, or a family house, or whatever, I will have 2 kittens. And I say 2 because just having one and having to go out to work, the cat will be completely alone. And even though cats are really independent, they also need to socialize. And so I think that 2 would be perfect if I have the money and possibilities to do so. And so I really want to see someone getting in touch with his cat side because it sounds like it's going to be really fun, and Junji Ito has an amazing horrifying artwork style, and yeah, I'm look, he's just screaming because the cat bit him. It's just so funny. I don't know, I want to read this. Also, a new great addition is that we have finally The Girl from the Other Side, Volume 11 by Nagabe, which is the ending of the story of The Girl from the Other Side. At fucking last. I absolutely love The Girl from the Other Side. It has one of the most beautiful art styles ever, and for me, it will always be a dark, nostalgic fairy tale. And this is supposed to be the story of this world where there's the inside of the walls and the outside of the walls. It's a medieval world, and on the inside, the humans live, and on the outside, there live hunting, cursed creatures that supposedly were humans previously to having gone to the outside world. And now they're cursed. And it's about this little girl that threads in between of these 2 worlds, and shit was going down in volume 9, I think it was the last one that I read, and I did not read volume 10 because I couldn't deal with it because everything was just happening so fast. I knew that I was going to cry, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to read this because I know for a fact that volume 11 is going to be the end of all of the shit, so I'm going to wait for it. And it took forever to come out, but now that I have it, I am going to reread the entirety of the series, and what I'm going to do is, and I'm promising you this, keep me accountable because I want to do this, I'm going to do an actual artsy, beautiful review of The Girl from the Other Side because I think it deserves so. And you know me, I love darkness, I love dark fairy tales, I love the art style of this, and I think it deserves to be having its own review. I can't even speak, I'm so sorry. I had to breathe in between of that sentence. So yeah, very excited for this one. Then we have a manga that it's not at all my thing, but I think it's going to be my thing. And that is The Masterful Cat is Depressed Again Today, Volume 1. And this is by Itsuzi Yamada. And from what I gather, okay, this is a story of this woman. She's called Saku, and she works long hours and she leaves alone with her cat, which is called Yukishi. But Yukishi is not an ordinary cat. He can cook, he can clean, he can speak, and he's fucking big, like gigantic cat. But I mean, and he also walks around in 2 legs, apparently, for some reason. So it's kind of like a human cat or something. But nobody knows that he can, like, speak and clean and do this thing. So he does everything for her because she's actually a klutz. She can't do all of her things. She's good at her work and she looks keep together, you know, but she really isn't. She's a mess at home and he does everything for her, but he can't get out of the house because he's not a normal cat and people would see. And so I think by the title that he's kind of depressed about it. And I mean, this is not the type of manga that I read. I don't like comedy. I mean, I like to watch it in animation sometime, but I like dark things. I don't like comedy. But the fact is, I saw this, and I'm not spoiling anything because this has continuation and it's just a collection of daily stories, but I just saw this. And this is the ending of the volume where the cat is just circling around the mistress and he's so big and fluffy and he's asleep around her. And I was like, okay, it's a big black cat and I want to read this manga. So this was what happened. I don't know, I'm going to read it. If I like it, I might continue. If I don't, I'll just sell it or give it away to charity. I don't know, but it's just, it's so fucking cute, I can't. Talking about beautiful things that shouldn't be my thing, but are totally my thing, we have, say it with me, Dead Demons, DEDEDE Destruction, Volume 8 by Inyo Asano. It's Volume 8, right? It's Volume 8. And you probably heard me talking about Inyo Asano. I have read some of his stories. I loved his stories. He normally writes, how is it called? Oh, okay, standalone mangas. Ooh, it's getting difficult when you can't breathe. But he normally writes and draws standalone mangas, but he's doing this as a series now. Well, he has one other series at least. But yeah. And this is supposed to be kind of a dystopian thingy in which a spaceship parks on top of Tokyo. And so it covers the sun, and everybody thinks they're going to be attacked by aliens. And without sun, things will die, like plants and stuff, and people will become pale, and yeah. But the fact is, the aliens don't do anything. They don't even come out of their ship. So everything starts to feel normal again. Even the fact that you don't have sun, and in the midst of fucking chaos of potentially being invaded by aliens, everything is normal. And so it's basically the daily day life of this group of teenagers and then young adults and how they live in the brink of the apocalypse. And I don't like dystopians in books because I have noticed that I have a lot of manga series that actually are a dystopic universe, but let's not go there. But I don't really normally like dystopian stories. I enjoy this so much. I read the first volume of this and I'm like, okay, let's get all of it so I can binge read this shit because this is going to be amazing. And I don't normally like sci-fi. I mean, I like a good sci-fi to watch. I love horror. Sci-fi is awesome. And I love watching like cool sci-fi movies, but reading for me is it takes a little bit more time. I actually read The Snow Queen, a very ancient sci-fi classic, but it's kind of sci-fi fantasy, and I really like that one. But sci-fi that doesn't have a little tiny pinch bit of fantasy, it's difficult for me to read. But this is like, and contemporary. I don't like contemporary at all, but this is a little bit of it, and all three together with the beautiful, insanely realistic and beautiful art style of Inyo Asano. I am loving this. I don't know. I read the first one and I was like, yes, it's gonna happen. And normally I read the first volume and I'm like, yeah, okay, let's read the second and see if this is as great as I think it's going to be. But I didn't need it. I was just like, yeah, I read the first one and it's awesome. Bring it the fuck on. And yeah, another one. I think this is currently sits at 10 volumes. I don't think it's finished, but I don't know, so I'm almost up with that, and it's a new manga for me. Then we have a manga that I think that should be on its way to get over, not because I don't like it, because I love it, and the art style of this is beautiful, and the story of it is pretty cool. The fact of the matter is, the plot points are starting to feel repeated because, let's face it, the main things of these are already solved, and that is Children of the Whales, Volume 18 by Abi Umeda. I'm betting this is going to be 20 volumes. If it's more than 20 volumes, I think we are already milking the fucking cow, because unless this actual volume takes a fucking turn, I don't see where the author is going with this. I really don't. I love it. I will read spin-offs of this shit. It's great. And I love the nostalgia and the pain and all the emotions in the characters, but do we really need to milk this cow? But the story of Children of the Whales is a bunch of people that live in this island, this sand island that roams through the sea, and some of them have powers, and so they die pretty young, and some of them don't have powers, and they live like until they're old. And there's a society in there, and they live through their emotions and everything, but one day they are just run over by another ship, and they discover that they are actually criminals running away from the government, which they had no idea they were. It's a secret, among others. There's fantasy, there's beautiful relationships, there's the power of friendship and stuff, which is normal in anime and manga. And I don't know, there's a lot of compelling characters, but I mean, my favorite character already had the redemption arc that needed. So I don't know how they're going to make this more interesting. I don't know. We will see. Two mangas that I'm going to talk together are The Witch and the Beast, Volume 6 and Volume 7 by Kusuke Satake. Now, this is another series that I have currently all of them up to date, and I've only read the first one because I read the first one and I was like, okay, the art style of this is gorgeous, the story of this is pretty cool, let's get into this shit. And the covers of these are so noir, I love it. But basically, The Witch and the Beast is a story about these two people. One of them is sort of a magician, and the other one is a berserk girl. So she's a fucking monster. And basically, in this world, witches are evil. They're always evil, from what I can gather for the first volume, and they do terrible things, so they're not to be redeemed. They're actual monsters, and one of these witches has put a curse on our berserk girl. So this is sort of a revenge story. This duo wants to find this witch and kill her, and through this trying to find the witch, they find other witches and other people that need their help. And so they work as two detectives, basically, of the occult. And it's pretty fun. Apparently, there's no romance dynamic between these two. I am not sure. I only read one volume. If I'm wrong, you can laugh in my face when I review this. But I don't know. I think this is going to be pretty awesome. I don't know if it's going to have more monstrous things than witches, like other paranormal. But if there will, I will enjoy it. And I cannot wait to read more. Another couple of manga is Witch Hat Atelier Volume 3 and Volume 4. This is by Kamome Shirahama, and I love this. I can't even scream correctly in this video, but oh my god, I've only read Volume 1 again, but because these are really hard to find when they come out of print, I am slowly gathering all of them when I can. So the story of Witch Hat Atelier is set in a world where supposedly magic is just for a selected few people, which may or may not be true. And our main character, what's the name of our main character? I fucking forgot. Coco. Yeah, how could I forget that? Oh my god. So Coco, our main character, she's a little girl, not this little girl in this cover, a little blonde girl. She wants to be a witch, and through some situations that happen in her life, she might get that chance. And there's political things, there's a lot of steampunkish, high fantasy, old fantasy designs. I love this, and kind of the way of doing magic is through drawing, which for me is terrible because I cannot draw to save my life, but it's beautiful to see the sigils and the calling of the magic through the drawings and the artwork. And it kind of has this thing where if you can't do it as it's supposed to be done, you can use what you know to make it work. And I love it. I love it how it's all about training will get you there, because we love characters that train as fuck to get where they are. And yes, so I want more of this. This is a beautiful world, beautiful art style. Just you notice that this person actually took the time to fucking draw everything instead of just splash some computerish thing, which, don't get me wrong, computer artwork is really hard to do. I can't do it to save my life, but it's harder to draw everything in detail. Yeah. Then I have a trilogy of books that I actually talked to the author to get, and this is a Portuguese fantasy author. I will leave down below her Instagram so that if you are Portuguese and want to connect with her works, or if you are from a printer out there in the world and want to connect with her works to translate them, I haven't read them, but I'm sure they deserve to be translated and read by other audiences. I am talking about Tânia Dias, and I am going to talk about her trilogy that I got here. So the first one is Broken, which in Portuguese it is then translated to Despedaçada. And it says, are you able to cheat destiny? And from what I understand, I'm going to try and translate the back because everything's in Portuguese, and it says, assuming her role as leader wasn't in Alexis White's plans, but when her mom loses her life in a terrible heist to the castle, she's without options. In a world where the weak are different from the strong by their gifts, Alexia is on top of the list, and she needs to learn how to deal with her gifts if she wants to retrieve Starness from the claws of the traitor. And then it says, Ian Belfire is a man that exhales arrogance from every pore, and he is willing to occupy the place of his master. Some say that the young girl is destined to save the world, but she's broken by her loss. Hunted by the memories of the past, is she able to save the world when she can't even save herself? And I mean, first of all, red-haired protagonist in a fantasy series. Yes, you're coming from my fucking heart. Yes. Then we have the second volume in this, which is Broken Phoenix. Can You Reborn from the Ashes, which is a continuation. I'm not going to read the synopsis because I'm pretty sure that it's going to spoil the first book for me, and we don't want that. And then we have Broken Untamed, and it says, are you able to win? And it's the end of the trilogy. All of the beautiful covers have our redhead protagonist, and they're all beautiful. It kind of looks like there's going to be elemental magic. I am not sure if that's the case. And I am very excited to read this and to review it, because I think that I need to read more Portuguese fantasy authors, and this person is kind of around my age. And we need to boost our young authors because it's really hard to write, it's really hard to publish, and she did it. Tânia did it. So, I mean, I'm really proud of her. I wish I could do that as well. And so let's just see what we have here and read it. As per usual, this second part is not on the same day, but I am still with no voice. I don't know what to tell you. I have made my COVID tests. It's not COVID, it's just allergies and terrible timing. So yeah, let's get into the rest of the book haul. So firstly, something I forgot to show you. Do you remember when I reviewed an e-arc that I got from NetGalley called Red Magnolia by Lucy Holden? And I said it was a trashy vampire story, but in Southern Gothic setting, and that I absolutely loved it. Say hi to Red Magnolia. And also, I got Moonvine, which is the second of the series. I got Poisonberry, which is the third. And then I got Bayou Rose, which is the fourth. And I do believe that the fifth is coming out, and we are all incredibly excited to read all of these and love them, because I do believe that's what's going to happen. I'm not going to tell anything more than Southern Gothic vampires. This girl has this house. This house comes with a curse. because of a family that lived there, and one of the members of that family is a very sexy vampire. We love it. Apparently there's going to be more paranormal creatures, but you know, I like this. Then we have some completions of series, and we have DEDEDE, Demons. Oh my god, I can never. Dead Demons, DEDEDE Destruction. Wow, I can never say this title correctly. And this is volume 9, and this is volume 10. These are by Inyo Asano. He's one of my favorite mangakas. And these are all that is currently out of this series, which I plan to binge read and review for you guys. It's about an alien ship that is really, really big, parks on top of Tokyo, and doesn't let the sun pass through. But people are not invaded. So the only problem is that they can't get vitamin D, the crops don't grow, and they don't have sun. Because apart from that, the apocalypse is actually pretty boring, and it's about the lives of the people, their day-to-day lives in this sort of apocalypse situation, but not really, because nothing really happens, and it's a study of daily life, basically. And I read the first one, and I love it, and I'm going to binge read all of these. Then we have a mangaka that I'm really wanting to try for a while now, and I will finally be able to, and that is Naoki Urasawa, and I got Asadora. Volume 1, Asadora Volume 2, and Asadora Volume 3, which I'm incredibly excited to read. I do believe this is about a little girl. She meets with this man that I think it's kind of a thief or something, and then a catastrophe happens and they get isolated from everyone. I believe her whole entire family dies or something. I don't know. So I don't know if this is day-to-day life or what this is, but I do believe we accompanying the growth of this little child. She's a pretty cool child, apparently, very happy and very strange. So I don't know, I'm really excited to read of Urasawa's works because I have heard a lot about his works, and most of them are really difficult to find right now. So I'm really happy that I have these first 3. I know there's a volume 4 out somewhere. But if I like these, I will get to those eventually. And now for some gifts that I had on Christmas. First and foremost, I am going to mention this one. I want you to know, and this is a disclaimer, that my channel is a safe place for every single person. However, even though I didn't purchase this, it was gifted to me by someone that really knows what this series means to me, and I will refrain from mentioning it further in the channel, but I do want to show it to you because it's beautiful, and it was a gift, and it was given with love and not with hate, and that is Harry Potter and Chamber of Secrets, the MinaLima edition. Of course, we already know who wrote this, but yeah, it's a beautiful edition. I love it. I have the first one also, and as I told you, it was a gift coming from love and for knowing how much I love this series. It wasn't a gift to support hate of any kind against anyone, so if this makes you uncomfortable, I'm really sorry. I won't mention it again, but I really wanted to show it to say thank you to the person that gifted it to me, and also to show how beautiful it is, because it's a book and I collect books, and that's what I do in a book haul. Then I was also gifted a manga, and that manga has a really strange name, so let's try. This is called Ciguatera, I think, or if you're telling it, I don't know if this is Italian and it's supposed to be Ciguatera, or I don't know, but this is by Minoru Furuya, and even though I have heard nothing of this author, this mangaka particularly, I have heard that this is like a great thing happening, and this is the first work of this author that was published in English, and it's a gigantic thing because this author won awards, and I think it's a great author, so I am actually excited to read this manga. So this is volume 1, so it's going to be a series, and I do believe this is about a coming-of-age story about this boy that is bullied, but then he sees this woman and he starts to blossom. I don't really know. I'm trying not to know and getting into it blind so I can review it for you guys and tell you if it's worth it. I do hope so. It's not really my thing to read contemporary, but in mangas I have seen that when they're greatly done, I love the emotion and what they portray, and so I want to read this, really. Then I've got V. Schwab's Extraordinary Villain Story in hardcover. So my camera cut for some reason, but I was telling you I have Extraordinary by V. Schwab, A Villain Story, the graphic novel,
in hardcover because my boyfriend found this signed and he was like, yeah, okay, this is for my girl, and I am so happy. I have not read this yet. I have the comics, but this edition is gorgeous. You cannot see the gorgeous of it because there's no light in this room, but wow, this is by V. Schwab, N.H. Balam, and Jordi Esquin Lorac, and if you have not read Vicious, I would not recommend you to read this because it does spoil some of the stuff in Vicious. She says that you can read, but I wouldn't recommend it personally. If you want to follow the author's notice instead of mine, you're completely okay. And then I have a gift from my mom, and that is First Person Singular by Haruki Murakami. It's the new Murakami book. It's a short story compendium book, which normally are my least favorite of the Murakami books. I prefer him developing his characters and his plot in an actual novel instead of short stories, but he's my favorite author and I love everything that he writes, and so I had to have it, and it was a Christmas gift from my mom, so it's even more important because she was the one that introduced me to Murakami and pretty much everything in my life. But these are supposed to be very intimate stories of Murakami. Some people even think that they might be slightly autobiographical. He does have an autobiography, sort of, that is called What I Talk About When I Talk About Running, but that's about running and some of his thoughts on it and life in general. But these are supposed to be more in-depth and have characters that people say that could be his life experience. And so I'm very excited to pick this up and read. If you guys would like me to review these and other Murakami's works, I would be up for that. I really want to reread my favorite Murakami's, and I can reread all of them just for fun and talk to you a little bit about it, like where you should start, because this is magical realism, like heavy magical realism. Not all of his books are the heaviest ones, but you have to be in a specific state of mind to actually read Murakami, in my opinion. So if you want to know like where I think you should start, what I think about his books, and what I think about the discussion of his feminism or not feminism, I would love to do that for you, so just tell me something in the comments down below. Those are going to be all of the books that I got for December. It's a big haul. It's kind of to close the year haul. There will be more, hopefully, in the next year. Maybe not as much, maybe, we don't know. I'm not going to lie to myself. Books, you know, I live for that. But yeah, guys, if you know any of these books, want to talk about any of these books, just tell me something in the comments down below. And yeah, guys, that's going to be all for today. Thank you for listening to me with my nose in a terrible condition and with my voice almost gone. That's going to be all for today, and happy readings to you all. And if we are in the new year, happy new fucking year. Bye!